Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Plumber 10X show. And today I am just so honored that we have Dennis Yu as our guest. And Dennis is the author of the Definitive Guide to TikTok Ads. It's the #1 bestseller on TikTok. There you go. Dennis has you spent billions of dollars, Dennis,
Yes.
in Facebook ads. I don't know that there are many people who really reach that level, which is just, awe-inspiring. You created the $1 a day program, which we in our agency, we're big proponents of $1 a day, and just seeing just what a refreshing way it is to be able to approach social media. And I really want to be able to have you dig, a little deeper on that for us today as well too. But, you spoke at 750 conferences, but you know what impresses me the most about you, Dennis, is you're probably the nicest guy I have ever met in the business world, because just your mindset about uplifting others. And it is so cool because it really works. And that's one thing that I'm learning from you. So glad to have you here.
Appreciate you. Yeah, we're only as good as our mentors.
Yeah, that is true. So you know what? Talking about mentors, Dennis, as you were kind of coming up, is there mentors of yours that you had that had an impact in your development of your career?
When I first got started, I was very lucky, and I had the CEO of American Airlines as a mentor.
Wow.
And there's a lot of things that we know and that we know we don't know, but mentors help you with things that you don't know that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand how to organize or how to manage or how to hire or how to run operations with hundreds of thousands of employees. Like, this guy was postmaster general. I think he had 300,000 employees in his previous job.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from him. It was almost like cheating, because in school, I was one of those Asian kids where you're supposed to get good grades and study. The idea of getting help from other people was cheating. Yeah. But then I discovered in the world of business, it's about relationships. Other people can tell you the answer. You can absolutely look it up. But when you're having an exam, it's like, okay, everyone shut your books. You're not allowed to look at the answer. Now we're using AI tools that are advising us. So I learned that it was through relationships. I know it's obvious for you and for most people, but me, imagine like this geeky Chinese engineer guy thinking that you study the book and you answer the questions and you follow the rules and this kind of thing, that you can ask other people for help. And relationships, like jobs that I've gotten, clients that I've gotten, have all come through referrals.
Wow.
And it wasn't because I'm the best or I need to prove that I'm good or anything like that. It's just like, he would ask me, hey, would you like to have dinner with the CEO of Goldman Sachs? Yeah, I would like to, but I'm scared to death because I'm an idiot and I don't want to open my mouth and sound dumb. I've met Margaret Thatcher and George H.W. Bush, like presidents of other countries. And it's all come from other mentors that have opened doors for me.
Wow.
Like, we were in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and we're networking with other very successful agencies, and they're sharing and mentoring us, and we're mentoring them. And I think there's nothing better in business than learning from people who have done the thing that you want to do.
Yeah. 100% makes so much sense. And I'm amazed at how many people haven't figured that out yet.
No, they think you have to struggle as some sort of like solo superhero, but everyone I know that's succeeding, they love mentorship. Like, if you're a home services business, then you should be looking at Tommy Mello. Yeah. Tommy Mello has a $300 million a year garage door company, and he's mentoring lots of home service businesses. I go to his conferences. I learn from other people that are there. There's always somebody who has done the thing that you want to do. If you're specific enough to know what that goal is, find someone who's done that thing, and don't listen to anyone else who wants to give you advice on something that they haven't done.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. So, Dennis, how do you keep yourself motivated and continue growing personally and professionally?
Well, that's a broad question, but in terms of the motivation, I'll say it this way. I'm not the most disciplined, hardworking, most intelligent, whatever kind of guy. Like, I admire the people that wake up at 5 a.m. and have their cold bath. I can't do stuff like that. The thing that gets me going is that I don't want to let other people down. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that depend on me. We have a huge army of people. Yeah. And there's young adults that I coach that are agency owners. And I think about all these people, and I don't want to ever let them down. So I don't think of myself as like this winner or someone who like is some like genius who's like always doing amazing work or something. I see it as this way. I'll never quit and never give up. And because of that, I win. And a friend of mine who's a pastor, he said, if you don't quit, you win. So I don't see myself as like conquering everybody else or, in a competitive marketplace, but I just see myself as no matter what, I'm the most stubborn person out there.
Yeah.
I will do whatever thing I need to do until I win. If it takes longer than I thought, that's fine. And I think entrepreneurship doesn't matter if you've got a plumbing HVAC business or you're a real estate agent or whatever. The game is just a matter of staying in and riding out the ups and downs and being smart about it.
Yep, absolutely. That is so true. And that's really good. And, I've seen that in you recently as well, too, because you like made a decision, best I can tell, to just, I'm going to run this marathon, just dropped a boatload of weight and just ran this marathon. Yeah. What was up with that? How did that all come about in your life?
Well, my buddy Marco Cipolla, who's got a home services business, a consulting agency, he said, hey, I'm running a marathon in Aspen in a week. Would you like to come? And I'm thinking, I've not run a marathon. I've not run more than a mile in years, a mile straight, right? Yeah. But I've lost 46 pounds recently, so I probably could do it. And back when I was in my 20s, I would run a marathon in 2.5 hours when I was 130 pounds instead of 200 pounds. and I thought, you know what? Everything's against me on this one because I'm almost 50. I'm still overweight. I've not trained for this marathon at all. It's at high altitude, 10,000 feet. Yeah,
that's no joke.
One of the most difficult marathons in the world, 6,000 feet of elevation change. And then I thought, wait, I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to set a record. I just want to finish. Wow. And the cutoff time. So, when you run a long race, if you don't meet the cutoff, they pull you off the course.
Yep.
So the cutoff was a 19-minute mile. And I said, 19 minutes a mile, that's 3 miles per hour. I can walk 3 miles per hour. So even if I'm super tired, I know I can walk that marathon.
Wow.
And that's what I did in 6 hours.
Wow. That is so cool. And you did it. As I find that so inspiring, and it just makes sense, right? You don't give up. You just stay in it.
It literally is that simple. I know it's like a cliche and all the motivational speakers, never give up. And as long as you stand up one more time, then you fell down. But it's literally that simple.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that decision needs to be made ahead of time, right? When you're in the thick of it, you're not going to come up with the idea, never give up, right? That's where all the thoughts are coming in to start giving up. But when you've got that mindset, which like you described, you'd learned from your pastor friend and you go into it. And it was cool how you gamified, the marathon. It's like, hey, I could do, a 19-minute mile, just stay in it. And it's cool. I love that.
And literally, like I went through, so the psychological trick to a marathon, if you think, it's 26.2 miles, it's such a long way. I mean, that's like driving from the LA airport to, Beverly Hills or whatever it is, like a long way, right? But wait, can I walk a 10K, which is 6 miles? Like, I can walk a 10K in 90 minutes, just walking. I mean, done that before. It's like an hour and a half of walking. Yeah. Can I do 4 of them? So after the first 6 miles, which is a 10K, I'm like, okay, I only have 20 miles to go. I'm already 25% of the way. Wow. And when I'm halfway there, I'm like, can I walk a half marathon? Yeah, I can do that. So you just and then when you're 20 miles in, you're thinking, I just have to run it. So then you just reset your mind. You're like, forget the fact that you just did 20 miles and you're 4.5 hours in. You're like, can I walk 6.5 miles?
Yeah.
And it's not that, can I complete a marathon? It's that, do I think I would ever not be able to keep walking with only 6 miles left? I know I can do that.
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. And it makes so much sense. And I really see that too. There's so many plumbing businesses, right? That maybe they're sitting at 1 million and they would love to be that guy that is up at 30, 40 million. And it seems like a marathon, right? And would you say that the same concept applies to somebody who's looking like that, instead of like, how do I become the super beast, like the Tommy Mello of my plumbing industry, to follow just that same, hey, just pace it out a chunk at a time?
Even Tommy Mello in his podcast, Home Services Millionaire, or in his book, Millionaire Home Service owner, something like that. He talked about how he started with $50K in credit card debt, working out. He even drove me to the place where he first started. He was so proud to show me this like tiny little corner of an office where he was taking the calls and doing the garage jobs himself, because it was just like him.
Wow.
And how he's grown now into this. He's in 17 states, and he's got this huge training facility, multiple floors, this other building. He's building this whole like university complex. It's amazing if you see it. I've been on tours with, he's got whole like fake garages and homes set up just so he can practice, and training centers, and all the vans, these new vans that are fully equipped with all the tools. I mean, wow, it's incredible. But he didn't just get there in one jump.
Yeah.
And so he talks about the story incrementally about how he grew. And basically it's a people game. And you're only as good as the people. And he made a post yesterday on Facebook around how he didn't do it in a cocky way, but basically how he's grateful he doesn't have to work anymore because he's got the right people there that are managing it.
Man.
And for me, I've been lucky to coach a lot of other business owners to help them put these other people in place so they're not stuck in the operations.
Yeah.
Like it took me years, but I finally hired an executive assistant a year ago. To handle, like I used to think, oh, I'm not going to be some like super important, arrogant person to have an executive assistant. Oh, you need to talk to my executive assistant. My executive assistant orders groceries or books plane tickets or, arranges meetings or
no, your people talk to my people.
It's liberating to have an executive. It's liberating to have other people on the team. But the trouble is good people cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So your business has to be making money so you can hire more good people. So Tommy's thing is, if you want to be a home services millionaire, you have to raise your prices a lot. And I've talked to other folks that are in plumbing and HVAC or garage door, and they charge a lot. But that's how they can have good people and good service and good profit. Like profit is not a bad thing as long as you're not wasting it on like strip clubs or being inefficient or, whatever it is.
Yep, absolutely.
But you have to pay for good people.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I think that the chicken and the egg is when you're under $1 million and you want to hire a head of sales that's going to make over 100K, that's kind of hard to do, right?
Yep, absolutely.
An operations director is over $100,000. That's what it is.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, we have an engineer on our team who's been with me for 17 years, and I was scared to death he'd be poached by Google and Facebook. I've lost 4 engineers to Facebook.
Wow.
People that I've trained up. I'm an engineer, so I've trained up other engineers. And this one guy makes $15,000 a month.
Wow.
And I look at that, I'm thinking, that's a lot of money. But then I think, could I ever replace that guy? He's got 16 years of coding experience. He knows our systems inside, and I could not replace this guy. I mean, if he were to twist my arm, or if he would never watch this because he's not a podcast. He's like a stereotypical engineer. He's not like on the internet hanging out. You can't even find him. I'm not going to tell you his name. But if he were to say, Dennis, you now need to pay me $20,000 a month. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Because that's what it takes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you're right. You've got to have the margins to be able to sustain that, or else you'll never scale. You'll never grow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dennis, when it comes to local SEO strategies for plumbers, how do those differ for a plumber versus other local businesses like retail shops and restaurants? Where should a plumber be focused in on?
So plumbers are demand driven because people need a plumber when something's happened. So that's why there's this whole emergency plumber. That's why you see the focus, especially on Google for map rankings. You mentioned SEO. 25% of local searches come from map results, but 75% that means comes from being able to rank on these other keywords and having featured snippets that are in video, that trigger a knowledge panel, that are images, that build brand awareness, that show that you eat at the local ice cream shop that other people in that city do. You have to have that location signal. So I break local SEO into mainly 80% link building, legitimate links, not buying links, not doing weird link trade, triangular linking, link laundering layers, like all that. No, nothing about tools or like that. I mean, you can use Link Whisper, Rank Math, all that. Yeah. But like 20% is content, which is 1-minute videos answering PAA questions. But 80% is links. And those 80% of links come from content that's either in your city to show that this is actually where you are. So just 15 minutes ago, I was on a call with a concrete coating company in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and they had absolutely zero signal for Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Their pictures, you can right click on images that are on a website and search Google, and it'll find all the other places that same image is. And we found this on all the other concrete coating companies out there. And I said, do you think, Greg, that maybe Google does, what do you think Google thinks about this? Well, obviously it's duplicate content and it's bad and it doesn't send trust and it looks like a cookie cutter site, like nothing wrong with templates and all that. But it didn't have, if he's sending out different crews to different suburbs within Sioux Falls, they should have pictures and videos and words and like things like that to show a clear, authentic signal of different neighborhoods within Sioux Falls, especially on the location service pages, which he didn't have any location service pages. Then the other part is, so that's local. Then the other part is you need to be topical. So if you're a plumber, what are the questions people are asking about a plumber? There's stuff like, how do I become a plumber, and broken toilets, and emergency plumber, and my floor is, wet because the dishwasher broke. I don't know, whatever it might be. There's things that if you go to Google and you type in plumber city name and you scroll down, it says people also ask, and there's all those things there. You have to answer those questions. But just because you create content, which is 20% of SEO, where are you going to get links? Well, other plumbers. So as long as it's not another plumber in your city, you're totally fine with collaborating with them. So why wouldn't I work with Plumber Marketing USA, who's got a ton of plumbing HVAC clients, and let's create a roundup article on, the 10 most ridiculous broken toilets we've ever seen, or something like that, right? Or installing the plumbing at a new house, what you need to know, or things like that. And then everyone contributes a little bit of expertise, and that way you can get links from other plumbing companies, just not ones in your city, right? So it's either think of this, a big chessboard. At the top, you have all the different kinds, roofing and real estate and plumbing and garage door and chiropractors, like all the different, those are called yellow page headings. And down the bottom with the rows, you have the different cities. So you could be a plumbing HVAC company in Phoenix, and you see how that draws an X? So anyone in that X you can collaborate with. So anyone in Phoenix, the bakery, the real estate agent, like just and that's the local signal. And then anyone in plumbing, it doesn't matter if they're a plumber in Atlanta, Georgia, or Beverly Hills or whatnot. You can share information. You can go to a conference with a bunch of plumbers and interview them about their success and how they grew to be a $7 million business, or how do they hire their salespeople, or what do they charge, or whatever, where they buy their equipment from, or who does their payroll, all these, industry stuff. So as long as you have one of those, either the location signal or the topic signal, that's how you do local SEO. You just can't do the intersection of the cross, which is anyone in your market who is a plumber, like in the city and in that area. But anyone else in that cross, why wouldn't you collaborate with them?
And so many plumbers have not got that figured out.
They need an agency to tell them that. But then the creation of the content and going out and sending your crews out there to take pictures or to get, reviews with the video and kind of behind the scenes, your crews have to do that. The agency can help you, but Richard Cruz is not in every single city. He doesn't know every single city. If I said Fargo, North Dakota, you don't know the different businesses in Fargo, North, or maybe you do, but that's whatever city you're in, you need to do that part, but with the coaching of Richard and Sam and other folks.
That's exactly what we love to do. It's so nice to be able to help them know how to generate real quality links versus, like you said, just buying the junk links out there that are just ticking time bomb.
I can spot that in 3 seconds, and Google will catch you. Yes, it does work temporarily, but Google will bust you.
They will. They definitely will. They always seem to figure out a way around it. It is social media doesn't often seem like a natural fit for plumbing businesses. But can you explain ways that you feel plumbers and HVAC companies should consider social media and to best utilize it?
So we think of social media not as a look at me, look at how amazing I am, look at my food. I'm trying to be famous. I'm an influencer. Did you know? No, we look at it as a way to honor other people and to be able to share knowledge and help. And so when you come at it from a servant mindset, elevating other people, like what you're doing on this podcast, then it's all about them. Because marketing, who is it that posted something today? Oh, it was Mary Henderson, who's one of the top LinkedIn people. And she said, you should never work on your own personal brand because your clients do it for you. Your community, your employees do it for you. What they say, that's your personal brand.
Wow.
So if you look at my posts on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, I'm always just honoring other people about their success. And I love learning from them. So I share, hey, I was with Verna Purgi, and she works at LinkedIn, and she's one of the top content marketing people on the planet. And this is what she told me when we hung out, when we were in Sydney, Australia at a conference. She told me this, this, and this. And I thought, wow, I'm going to share that with other people. Yeah. So I never run out of things to say, because I'm not having to come up with topics. I'm sharing what I've learned from other people, and I'm honoring them.
Yeah.
It's not like, an agency gives me a list of things I need to make. Okay, fine. You talk about your business and how you got started and why you did it. And okay, yes, there's some of that. You do that one time. But the ongoing social media is more about listening to other people. You're spending 10 times more time in the comments and engaging than you are in creating content. And you can delegate that out to teams as well. So if you're the owner, then what does the figurehead do? Well, you're honoring employees who just got their anniversary. You're talking about people that you've met recently. You're saying how, you've lost 45 pounds. It doesn't have to be related to plumbing, right? People connect with you in social media because of stories. Stories tie back to humans. It requires humans, right?
Yeah.
So you and I have been connecting on a human level instead of just like purely SEO digital marketing. I don't even care about SEO and digital marketing. I think that's ridiculous. I think math is ridiculous. Who wants to do that? But I love seeing other people win.
Yeah.
Like I did math tutoring for almost 30 years.
Wow.
The night before, people would have a math exam and they'd come to me because I was known as like the guy who could work these miracles. And all I would do is just empathize with other people. 90% of the time, just calm them down and then show them how to solve these problems. So my view of social media is just showing who you are, telling stories that uplift other people. And if you just do that, you don't have to worry about trying to be famous or being judged on how your hair is, or you're afraid you're going to post something and you'll get no views or likes. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because the point is that content can be repurposed into everything. And the other part of social media, people say, well, I don't have time for TikTok and Twitter and Threads and all these other social, YouTube. I just, that's a full-time job. And I have, I want to sleep. I want to spend time with my kids and all this. Okay. Then you don't have to. Just spend time, an hour a week, which can be a couple minutes at a time, creating content, meaning just selfie behind the scenes, little 15-second videos. When you find something interesting, just all you have to do is collect it. That's it. You don't have to edit it. You don't have to turn it into a book. Then your team, or Richard Cruz's team, if you're so lucky, will take those little short videos. You don't need a $6,000. I'm speaking to you through a $6,000 camera. It doesn't matter. I can do it through an iPhone. Like this is what you need. Then the team will process it. The team will take that little video. Like yesterday I was at Sky Zone and I did an behind the back dunk. I took the ball and I went behind my back and I was able to dunk it for the first time. And I got it on video.
Yeah.
But that can now be a Twitter and a Facebook and a YouTube and a blog post and a Threads and a GMB post and a whatever it is. Yeah. Any piece of content can be repurposed into 15, 20 pieces of content. Like this podcast can be repurposed into who knows how many different kinds of pieces of content. Maybe it's a 45-minute episode, but there's 15 snippets that we can pull out of it, right? So I think of social media as the place that you push the content. It's independent of the creation of the content. Yep. So us as business owners, we're doing high value things like building relationships, and we just document some of it behind the way, like Zoom calls. We record all of them, right? Because it'll be great snippets that we can pull. Like, you will have said something that I thought was really amazing, and if we didn't record it, then our team doesn't have that, and we want to be able to turn that into an article, right? We can spin it into so many different things, and that's how I think of social media. It's just another outlet. You don't need to be on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's just an outlet. Us as business people, we're trying to drive ROI out of those channels. It doesn't mean we need to be there. But the social media people are all social media experts would all like to make you think that you need to spend all day on social media. We don't have time for that.
Yeah. And I've heard you said as well too, Dennis, that you shouldn't be thinking about creating content for the specific platform, right? Just focus on honoring people. And when you do that, that is so platform irrelevant at that point, right?
Right. You're not trying to become a YouTuber. Now, if you're trying to be a YouTuber and you make your money off of getting lots of views, which then generate ad revenue, then yes, focus on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. But last I checked, all of us, we're making money off of professional services.
Yes, we are.
Not off of running ads because we get millions of views off of something we did to try to get attention.
Yeah.
I'm not singing or dancing or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. must be refreshing not to have to worry about that. And when your focus is on uplifting others, that never gets old, and it never gets tiring, never feels disingenuine, right? It's a great place to be. I mean, that is something, new for me that I've learned from you recently. It's a game changer. 100%, and just the way you view it. And it takes so much pressure off, right? You're not worried about the likes or, what it is. It's just, hey, who can I uplift today and how can I encourage other people? And, hey, I
don't even think about that way. It's like something will happen and I'll just instinctively say, that is amazing. Do you mind if I just recognize that moment? Right. And just post about it. Can we take a selfie? And then I just want to uplift you. And then they get the Dennis Yu effect because then they get hundreds of friend requests because I tagged on, because I have 1 million followers on Facebook. But that's a fantastic thing. Like, why wouldn't you want to leverage that? And even if you have like 3 followers, it doesn't matter. Honor other people because now you're being seen by their network.
Yep. I love it. So cool. Great, good information. When we were last together on the podcast, you had asked me a question, and I want to ask you the question as well too, because I really loved it, Dennis. We had talked about LSAs, Google Guarantee program, and you had asked, and I've never heard this question before: is it SEO and is it PPC? And so let me ask you, Dennis, what in the Dennis Yu perspective, LSAs, are they SEO or are they PPC, and why?
On the surface, LSA are ads because you're paying for them, but really it's SEO. Why? Because if your GMB isn't strong and you have great reviews and you answer the phone, those are all organic kinds of things. You have to have a good business. If your business sucks or if it's brand new or has negative reviews and you try to run ads to fix it, LSA or any kind of thing where you're paying, it doesn't matter. So LSA, we're not writing ad copy. LSA, there's no real targeting. I guess you can choose your service regions. But LSA Google is making your ads for you. So I don't consider it advertising. I consider it as social postage. So you're paying to get distribution to be in the top spot, Google verified, Google guaranteed. But I view it as like FedEx. You're paying FedEx to deliver a package. Are they advertising? No, but you're paying for a delivery service. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. A lot of plumbers struggle with not able to get enough LSA leads. They'll see, for example, they're getting LSA, Google Guarantee jobs, and then all of a sudden it just drops off. What have you seen to be some of the biggest causes of dropping off a cliff like that?
There's many things. I'll tell you some of the ones that are obvious and some of the ones that aren't. The non-obvious ones is if the underlying GMB or LSA account is more than 3 years old. You need to create a new one because they've created a new system around that. Or sorry, if your LSA account is more than 3 years old, right? Because they made some changes and there's just no fixing it. Google doesn't really admit to these kinds of things. 2 is if you are not answering the phone. So if Google's looking at that, so you have to respond right away with a human, ideally, right away. And there's all this other stuff. So I've interviewed the top people in this, like Ben Fisher. I've interviewed some other people at Google on what happens if you're not getting enough leads. Sometimes people, they jack the budget up too high. There's this initial kind of warming up period for a month or so to get things going with the new LSA account. Some people are too impatient about that. They're not marking the leads. So if you don't do that, you're not sending a signal back to Google. And of course, it's pay per lead. So you don't want to, you need, some of them are wrong numbers or whatever they are, right? Telemarketing, digital agencies that are calling, which is crazy. That's the number one pet peeve I have is digital agencies that pretend to be a customer just to try to get through. I mean, just whatever.
That's
But
tacky.
if your business is operating the right way, LSA is going to do well. It's an amplifier of what you already have, which is really what organic is.
Yeah, it's really good business. It's really affordable. Conversion rates are really high. So if somebody has dropped off, if somebody is over that 3-year mark and they're going to go create another one, do they keep the old one and just create another one on top of it, or do
No,
they have to delete the old one and start over?
make a new one and start over, because you don't want to have overlapping service areas, which I know has been a big no-no, and it's been a big contention in the last year, because the rule is, you can't have 2 GMBs in the same service area. But there is sort of a gray hat technique around this and I've seen it with personal injury, and I've seen it in real estate, where if you have a different license for each of those LSAs, then you can have overlapping regions because they're technically different businesses, because the LSA, is tied to whoever's licensed. It's not tied to the firm, right?
Yep, absolutely. So be best to just shut it down, start the new one, go through the setup process, getting reviewed and approved, and then launch the new one. And so even though you'll be down for a little while.
Yes, there is that period to be able to come back. I'm a firm believer in being squeaky clean. I don't want to cut any corners, because sometimes, it's like jaywalking. You'll probably get away with it, but eventually you get caught.
No, you get the Google slap. It's not a fun place to be. Google jail.
Yeah, and people like Ben Fisher can get you unsuspended, and I get calls for that all the time. Because especially in plumbing, which is a high risk category. So plumbing, locksmith, real estate. 25% of the GMBs can be suspended. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, but you could go look at your competitors. And if you're in the top 3, then it makes sense to knock out the 1 and 2. If you're like number 20, it doesn't matter knocking out the other people ahead. But you can knock out 25% of your competitors by reporting their GMBs if they're making one of the common mistakes, like the name of their GMB doesn't match exactly what's on the Secretary of State, if their storefront isn't visible or meets certain criteria of being an actual storefront, because like maybe they're mobile and their actual office is not in the city center, and they have some Regis office, like some fake virtual working. Like there's all these different ways to try to bust other people.
Interesting.
Anyway, I don't want to get into that, but there's that. And sometimes people try to do that to you. So you have to see when people are trying to report you or buy porn links to your site, things like that.
Yep. There's you've got to watch your properties really carefully. So, hey, Dennis, reviews are all so important, especially now with EAT and local and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about reviews and the importance of reviews for plumbers?
Well, obviously, everyone knows that having a lot of reviews and being 4.8 stars and above is critical. But your review velocity, the number of reviews you've had in the last 3 months, is actually more important than the total number of reviews that you have. Because Google wants to know that you're active. You could have had a great business a long time ago, but nothing's really happened in the last year or two. You got shut down with COVID. Who knows, right? But review velocity, and then there's review strength. And Google's got a rating system of 1 to 10 for if you're a contributor. Like I'm a level 8. I think I've got 25,000 points. So consumers that are contributing, like for example, if you get suspended and you need to get that fixed, then if you have 3 level 10 Google reviewers, that's enough power to get it fixed, or to kick out a bad review, or to do whatever, right? So it's not the total number of reviews, it's the quality of the reviewer. Because a lot of reviews you'll see are, maybe they look like they're from your local area, but they have this IP thing, or someone's registering all these like fake, never buy fake reviews. But if someone's got, some profiles only got 3 reviews and they're all 1 star, or they're all like whatever, like that doesn't make any sense. They don't have a complete profile. But if it's like, if you look up me, I'm a level 8 and I think I've got 7 million photo views and 500 reviews, and like that, my review of a business carries weight. So it's not the number, it's not the rating, it's the power of those reviews. And especially if if that rater, that reviewer, they're called Google Guides. Anyone who leaves a review, they're called a Google Guide. It's not just the power of that person, but if that review itself have pictures, video, if it's a long review, meaning what is that, 200 characters? Yeah, if it's more than 200 characters, then it's called a detailed review. Those are what count. Mm-hmm. And so if you teach your technicians to help people leave higher quality reviews that mention the service and mention the city that they're in, that helps you as well. Mm-hmm. Don't just say, oh, Joe is a great plumber. Joe, came right away and fixed this particular thing. And I'm in Gilbert, Arizona. And they need to say, you need to include those signals in there, right? Not just like 5 stars. Oh, Joe's plumbing was great.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah. I did a talk recently, and I was showing a group of plumbers, how important that was, being able to seed the keywords with search term and city. Mm-hmm. And I was bringing up examples of some of the most competitive markets in the country, like New York and Chicago, and took some terms. And you saw some plumbers have been in there for 85, plus years, that a new guy 3+ years was beating them, in the GMBs because of it was only that review with the city and the keyword that was putting them above those guys. And so these guys have been around for a while, that have been sitting kind of on their laurels. They're very much exposed right now to people that are using that strategy that you just talked about. It works. Yeah. Incredibly works.
Yeah. Yeah. It only takes a couple months to do that, but don't review gate. Don't just have a bunch of your friends leave 5-star reviews. That throws a signal off. Google can see it. Don't resort to those things. But yeah, absolutely on everything else you said.
Yeah, yeah. Then as you're, using video, I mean, that's something, your $1 a day formula. If you were to advise a plumber on how to best use video or how to apply the $1 a day formula, how would you suggest that they, what are kind of the main components that they should be focusing on?
So as your people and yourself and everyone else who, whether they're customer facing or not, should be documenting their life and their work as 1-minute videos, and just having that on their iCloud or Google Photos or whatever cloud service you have, so that Richard's team can take that and turn those into stories. They don't have to be huge moments. It doesn't have to be in the movie studio, podcast, famous person saying something. No, it's just little moments. If you collect those moments, then they can all be used and reassembled in different ways to be able to show the humanity of your company. And that's really how people choose. Do people know who the best plumber actually is? They don't know. Do they know like what kind of certification, what kind of training you have, how many years of experience? No. People make decisions based on the trust of the relationships and whether they feel like they identify with that person. And how do they identify? By seeing your face. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like you would think, you take my skill in digital marketing and Facebook ads and SEO and all that, and if you didn't see my face, you would never work with me. You'd never hire me. Mm-hmm. It'd be weird, right? Let's say, Richard, I'm coaching you on some things, but I never showed my face. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, there'd be no connection.
But I'm just as competent. I'm everything that I am, but you just never get to see my face.
Yeah, there's a missing link.
It's because humans do business with humans. So you're a plumber, that's great. And some people, they don't want to show their face, or, they don't like how they look or whatever, but the majority of people will. And if you get people into that mindset and you uplift them and you tell them, hey, we can make you, we have great video editors and they can, add hair back or make you like whatever. If you just want to show the vibe of who you are. It's literally, I don't care whether you're a plumber or a chiropractor or a real estate agent. I've had the benefit of seeing across all these industries, the folks who are winning, you feel like, you feel like you know who they are. I'm not saying every minute document, like take pictures of your food and be a paparazzi, Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm not saying that, but just literally just tell a little story, right? So a friend of mine who's flying in tomorrow from San Antonio was diagnosed with a life-threatening condition that has no cure. where it's Lou Gehrig's disease and Parkinson's and this other. It's like this triple combo of like the worst degenerative diseases you could ever have. And he's flying in tomorrow to see me in Vegas, good friend of mine. And we're going to seek some treatment for him. I'm going to take him to these oxygen baths because I think that will heal him. And I've seen it done with other people, with my mother, you know, ovarian cancer, other sorts of terminal situations where the doctor says nothing can be done. And I've seen people come back from that. And I'm going to tell the story when he lands. And we're going to document his story along the way, as I've done that with many other people that have had illnesses that modern medicine said that there's nothing more you can do.
Wow.
And so that's meaningful to me. That has nothing to do with digital marketing. But you know what it does is it communicates to people that I care.
Yeah.
And if you literally show that you care, that is what people, that's why people do business with you. Not because you're a slick talker or you drive a fancy sports car. Yeah. They do business because they feel like you're going to take care of them. They see how you take care of other people. They see how I take care of my friends.
Yeah.
They know that if they're in our $1 a day program, I'm going to take care of them. Right. Yeah. And my hope is that, Richard, like you feel that love. You feel that it's genuine. It's not just like some TV commercial where I'm like, oh, we love all of our customers. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
No, it is genuine.
I mean, that comes through. You're the founder. You know, you run a plumbing HVAC company. You could run any kind of company. You could run a freaking bakery. But if that care comes through, that care is not going to come through in words that are generated by ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. It's going to come through because they can see your face and you're talking about your life and what's going on. There's nothing to do with plumbing.
100%. I love that. That makes so much sense. It's a great perspective to be able to share because I don't think many plumbers really are aware how important that is. And I want to get that message out to them. And so I'm so excited to be able to start teaching that and helping them with that. So thank you for those.
They don't have to be eloquent. It's not like, oh, I've got better tools than the other plumber. Yeah. Do you think anyone cares what kind of tools you have or what kind? I mean, you want to have a nice van that's branded and all that, and your people are well dressed in the uniform and all that. But I guarantee you, they're going to take someone who cares and shows those kinds of stories over the other plumber guy who's got way more reviews and stars and that kind of thing.
Yeah, people do business with people they know and they like and they trust.
Literally. Amen.
Wow, that is cool. Hey, the bath is called, that you were talking about, the oxygen bath. Tell me just a little bit about that. I know we're starting to run, low on time here, but I am so intrigued about that. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So I've been told by some celebrity friends of mine that I needed to check out this place. It looks like Kaquan, but it's spelled Cocoon, K-A-Q-U-N. And it's in Las Vegas. I got a place in Las Vegas just because of this. But long story short, I met the founder, the doctor who came from Hungary, the physiologist that founded this whole thing 21 years ago. And I'm a math, science, prove it to me, evidence kind of guy.
Yep, you are.
And I've studied this thing top and bottom. I met this guy, Dr. Robert Lyons, who founded this. And he's a crazy mad scientist guy. He's not like a salesperson, whatever. He's one of those. And I came ready to shred him because I did all my research. Like, there's no way you can get oxygen in this water. There's no way, like, we are not fish. We don't have gills. I don't believe it. You get oxygen through the Krebs cycle where it gets to your red blood cells, hemoglobin, give it to your cells, the redox reaction, ATP transfer, all that stuff that happens. You learn in biology, right? That's how you get oxygen to the cells. You can't have oxygen somehow get to your cells because you drink the water or take a bath in it. That's ridiculous. So I did all my research, ready to tear him down. And he answered all these questions. And I even tried it too. And I realized, oh, shoot, my flight leaves in 30 minutes. And I was still in his office. I'm like, I'm not going to make this flight. I got a keynote speech tomorrow. I got to get to the airport. So one of his friends drove me to the airport. And by then I'd already drank a whole bottle and a half, like 50 ounces of this oxygen water. And Southwest Airlines has the furthest gates. You know why their flights are cheaper? Because they buy the further gates away, the landing spots there cost less. And I ran, it must have been 600 meters all the way to the very last thing. It's like C9 or whatever in Las Vegas. If you know Las Vegas, that's like way down there. And I ran the whole way and I wasn't even tired. I made the flight and I realized, shoot, it was because of all the oxygen water I was drinking. Then I've had it measured in my system. So there's tissue level oxygen versus like, the pulse oximeter, which is blood level oxygen. I've been to Hungary multiple times where they manufacture the water and the equipment. I've run a lot of my friends through this on my own dime because I want to see them healthy entrepreneurs who don't have life-threatening conditions. They just want to have more focus. They want to have more energy. Like, I'm almost 50. These kids at the trampoline park yesterday were saying, dude, I can't believe you're almost 50. You have more energy than all the rest of us. I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's
It's because I'm drinking this oxygen water and I've got bottles of it with me all the time. I go through TSA with gigantic bottles of water. You know, you're not supposed to, 3 ounces or less, right? And I say, this is medicinal. And they're like, come on through. You said the magic words.
Wow.
Did you know that?
That's awesome.
So if you're in Vegas, come in. I will take you. It'll be my treat. It'll be an honor. You, as a hardworking entrepreneur, you're going to see what that impact is. And then I won't even explain it to you. I just want you to do it. Get in the bath. When you come out, I'm going to ask you, Richard, how do you feel?
Okay. That sounds good. I'm gonna make a trip. I love that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
It'll be life-changing for you. And then I will ship you water at my expense.
Okay. Thank you.
So you can enjoy this.
Thank you, Dennis.
Every day.
That is very, very kind of you. I am grateful for you. And I am grateful for you being on the show today. That was just great advice. Thank you so much. And with that, I think we call it a wrap.
Awesome, Richard. An honor to be your first guest.
Thank you so much. Plumbers, if you're struggling to recruit top-notch technicians for your plumbing business, Jody Underhill reveals the secrets on our next episode. Don't miss out.